Have you ever wondered what makes a dish truly unforgettable? What if I told you the world's most famous chef was hiding a secret ingredient so powerful it made food critics beg for his recipe? Today, you'll discover the mysterious sunshine dust that transformed a simple village boy into Paris's most celebrated culinary master. But be warned, this secret isn't what you think. Before we begin this delicious tale of passion and perseverance in the kitchens of France, make sure to subscribe to Story-Driven English and hit the notification bell. We serve fresh stories weekly that will elevate your English skills while taking you on unforgettable adventures around the world. Now, let's step into the aromatic kitchen of Le Jardin Bleu, where Chef Pierre Dubois is about to teach us that the most powerful ingredients can't be measured in teaspoons. The chef's secret ingredient. Pierre Dubois woke up at 4:30 a.m. every morning. It was still dark outside, but the streets of Paris were never completely quiet. He could hear the soft rumble of delivery trucks bringing fresh ingredients to the markets. Pierre loved this time of day. The world was peaceful, and he had a few moments to enjoy his coffee before his busy day began. Pierre was the head chef at Le Jardin Bleu, one of the most famous restaurants in Paris. People from all over the world came to taste his food. Some people waited months to get a table. Pierre was proud of his work, but he never thought he would become so famous. He started as a simple boy from a small village in the south of France. "Good morning, Paris," Pierre whispered as he looked out his apartment window. The Eiffel Tower stood tall in the distance, its lights still shining in the early morning darkness. Pierre finished his coffee, put on his coat, and headed to the local market. The market was Pierre's favorite place. Even after 20 years as a chef, he still felt excited when he saw fresh vegetables, fruits, meats, and cheeses. He believed that the secret to good cooking was using the best ingredients. "Bonjour, Pierre," called Madame Moreau, who sold the best cheeses in Paris. "I have something special for you today." She held up a small round of cheese with a dark, wrinkled rind. "This is a new cheese from my cousin's farm. It's aged in grape leaves for 6 months." Pierre smiled and took the cheese. He smelled it and nodded with approval. "Perfect. I'll take it." He continued through the market, greeting the vendors he had known for years. They all saved their best products for him. By 6 a.m., Pierre arrived at Le Jardin Bleu. The restaurant was quiet, but soon his team would arrive, and the kitchen would come alive with activity. Pierre unlocked the door and turned on the lights. The kitchen gleamed with clean stainless steel surfaces and copper pots hanging from the ceiling. Pierre carefully unpacked his market treasures: fresh sea bass with clear eyes and shiny scales, bright red tomatoes that smelled like summer, herbs so fresh they seemed to dance with life, and of course, Madame Moreau's special cheese. At 6:30 a.m., his team began to arrive. First came Sophie, his sous chef for 8 years. She was talented and ambitious, and Pierre knew she would have her own restaurant someday. Then came the others: Jacques the pastry chef, Thomas the sauce expert, Luc who prepared meats, and several young apprentices eager to learn. "Good morning, chef," they all said with respect. In the kitchen, Pierre was the boss, and everyone followed his instructions without question. But Pierre was not a typical angry, shouting chef that people see on television. He was calm and kind, teaching rather than criticizing. Today, Pierre announced, we have something special. The food critic from Le Monde will be dining with us this evening. The team looked nervous. A good review from Le Monde could bring even more success to the restaurant. A bad review could be disastrous. Don't worry, Pierre said with a confident smile. We will cook the same way we always do. With love, with respect for our ingredients, and with joy in our hearts. The team nodded and began their preparations. Each person had specific tasks. The kitchen operated like a well-rehearsed dance, with everyone moving in harmony. Pierre walked around, tasting sauces, suggesting small adjustments, and encouraging his team. By noon, the first preparations were complete. The team took a short break for lunch. They sat together at a table in the back of the restaurant, eating simple food that Sophie had prepared. This daily meal was important to Pierre. He believed that people who cook together should also eat together. "Chef," said Jean, the youngest apprentice, "is it true that you once cooked for the President of France?" Pierre laughed. "Yes, it's true. But do you know what? He is just a man who likes good food, like everyone else. When you cook with your heart, it doesn't matter if you are cooking for a president or a plumber." After lunch, the final preparations began. The restaurant would open at 7 p.m. for dinner. Everything needed to be perfect. Pierre was known for his signature dish, sea bass with a sauce that took 3 days to prepare. The recipe was a secret, passed down from his grandmother, who had been a cook in a small countryside inn. As the afternoon progressed, Pierre noticed that Sophie seemed worried. She was tasting the special sauce over and over, adding tiny amounts of seasoning each time. "What's wrong, Sophie?" Pierre asked. "The sauce, chef. Something is missing. It's good, but not perfect. Not like when you make it." Pierre tasted the sauce. Sophie was right. It was good, but not perfect. There was a depth of flavor missing, a certain brightness that made his grandmother's sauce so special. "Ah," Pierre said with a smile. "I know what's missing." He went to his office and returned with a small jar. Inside was a light yellow powder. "What is that, chef?" Sophie asked. "This, my dear Sophie, is my secret ingredient. My grandmother called it sunshine dust. It's a blend of dried lemon zest, a special salt from the south, and a few other things I can't tell you yet." He winked at her. "One day, when you have your own restaurant, I will share the complete recipe with you." Pierre added a small pinch of the powder to the sauce. The effect was magical. The sauce came alive with flavor, bright and complex at the same time. By 6:30 p.m., everything was ready. The dining room, with its elegant blue walls and sparkling crystal, looked perfect. The tables were set with fine china and polished silver. Fresh flowers adorned each table. Through the windows, guests could see the lights of Paris beginning to twinkle as the sun set. The restaurant manager, Henri, briefed the serving staff on the evening's special dishes and reminded them that the food critic would be at table 7. Everyone was a little nervous, but Pierre remained calm. "Remember," he told his team, "we cook with love. That is all that matters." At 7 p.m., the first guests arrived. The restaurant quickly filled with conversation and laughter. The kitchen became a flurry of activity. Orders came in, and beautiful plates of food went out. Pierre supervised everything, occasionally adding final touches to a dish or adjusting the presentation. At 8:30 p.m., Henri came to the kitchen with news. "Chef, the critic has arrived. He is at table 7 as planned." Pierre nodded. "Good. We will serve him just like any other guest. No special treatment." The critic, Monsieur Lefebvre, was famous for his harsh reviews. Chefs across Paris feared him. He had the power to make or break a restaurant with his words. But Pierre refused to be intimidated. Pierre personally prepared the critic's order, the famous sea bass with the secret sauce, preceded by a small appetizer of scallops with truffle foam, and followed by a dessert of chocolate soufflé with lavender ice cream. When the critic's main course was ready, Pierre added a final touch, a small sprinkle of his sunshine dust on top of the sauce. The plate looked beautiful, with the white fish, the golden sauce, and garnishes of fresh herbs and tiny vegetables arranged like a garden on the plate. "Perfect," Pierre said, and handed the plate to the server. The evening continued. More orders came and went. The kitchen was hot and busy, but Pierre's team worked together smoothly. They trusted each other and knew what needed to be done without being told. At 10:30 p.m., Henri returned to the kitchen with a strange look on his face. "Chef, Monsieur Lefebvre would like to speak with you." The kitchen fell silent. This was unusual. Critics rarely asked to speak with the chef. Pierre wiped his hands on his apron and straightened his chef's jacket. "Of course. I will go to his table." As Pierre walked through the dining room, guests turned to look at him. Some recognized him and whispered to their companions. Pierre approached table 7, where Monsieur Lefebvre sat alone, his dessert half-eaten in front of him. "Good evening, Monsieur Lefebvre. I hope you enjoyed your meal," Pierre said politely. The critic looked up at Pierre with serious eyes. "Chef Dubois, I have eaten in every fine restaurant in France. I have dined with the greatest chefs in the world." He paused, and Pierre prepared himself for criticism. "But never," continued the critic, "have I tasted a sauce like yours. It is extraordinary. I must know, what is your secret?" Pierre smiled. This was not the first time someone had asked for his secret. "Monsieur Lefebvre, cooking is not just about ingredients or techniques. It's about feeling. Every dish I create contains a piece of my heart, a memory from my childhood, the joy I feel when I see someone enjoying my food. That is my real secret." The critic frowned. "That is a lovely sentiment, chef, but I am asking about the actual recipe. I detected something unusual in the sauce, something I cannot identify." Pierre laughed gently. "Ah, you must mean my grandmother's sunshine dust. I'm afraid that recipe will remain a family secret." Monsieur Lefebvre did not seem satisfied, but he nodded in acceptance. "Well, I look forward to writing my review. Good evening, chef." "Good evening, monsieur. Thank you for dining with us." Pierre returned to the kitchen, where his team was waiting anxiously. "What did he say, chef?" Sophie asked. He asked for my secret ingredient, Pierre replied with a smile. The team laughed. They all knew about Pierre's sunshine dust, though none of them knew exactly what was in it. The restaurant closed at midnight. The last guests left, and the cleaning began. Pierre's day had started at 4:30 a.m., and now, nearly 20 hours later, he was still working. This was the life of a chef, and he loved every moment of it. As the team cleaned the kitchen, they chatted about the evening. Everyone felt it had been a success. Even the visit from the critics seemed to have gone well. "Chef," asked Thomas as he polished copper pots, "do you think Monsieur Lefebvre will give us a good review?" Pierre shrugged. "Who knows? Critics are unpredictable. But we did our best, and that is all we can do." By 1:30 a.m., the kitchen was clean and ready for the next day. The team said good night and went home. Pierre was the last to leave, as always. He checked everything one final time, then turned off the lights and locked the door. The streets of Paris were quiet now. Pierre walked slowly, enjoying the cool night air. He was tired but satisfied. Another day of creating beautiful food, of sharing his passion with the world. The next morning, Pierre woke at 4:30 a.m. as usual. He made his coffee and opened his laptop to check the news. There, on the front page of Le Monde's website, was the headline, "Le Jardin Bleu, Perfection on a Plate." The review was glowing, full of praise for Pierre's creativity and skill. Monsieur Lefebvre called the sea base a revelation, and the secret sauce a masterpiece of culinary art. Pierre smiled as he read the review. It was nice to receive praise, but he knew that tomorrow he would still wake up at 4:30 a.m., go to the market, and cook with the same passion and care. Because for Pierre, being a chef was not about fame or reviews. It was about the simple joy of creating something beautiful and delicious, something that made people happy. Later that morning, as Pierre walked to the market, his phone rang. It was Sophie. "Chef, have you seen the review? It's amazing." "Yes, I saw it," Pierre replied. "It's very nice. The restaurant is already fully booked for the next 3 months. Henri says people are calling non-stop for reservations." Pierre laughed. "Well, I guess we will be very busy. Make sure you get enough rest, Sophie. We have a lot of cooking to do." As he continued to the market, Pierre thought about the sunshine dust that had so intrigued the critic. The truth was, it was a simple mixture of dried lemon zest, a special sea salt from Camargue, a pinch of saffron, and a herb that grew only in the small village where Pierre was born. But the real secret wasn't in the ingredients. It was in the memories attached to them, helping his grandmother in her kitchen, watching her hands as she prepared the sauce, the smell of her kitchen on a summer day, the taste of love in every spoonful. That evening, as the restaurant filled with guests eager to taste the famous sauce, Pierre gathered his team for their pre-service meeting. "Tonight, we have many new guests who read the review. They come with high expectations," Pierre said. "But we will cook the same way we always do, with love, with respect, and with joy. That is our true secret ingredient." The team nodded, understanding. They knew that what made Le Jardin Bleu special wasn't just the food, but the spirit in which it was created. As the first orders began to come in, Pierre felt the familiar rush of excitement. Another evening of creating art on a plate, of telling stories through food, of sharing a piece of his heart with every dish. This was why he woke up at 4:30 a.m. every day. This was why, even after 20 years, he still loved being a chef. And as he added a tiny pinch of sunshine dust to the first batch of sauce, Pierre smiled, knowing that his grandmother would be proud. Because in the end, the greatest secret in cooking, and perhaps in life, was the simplest one of all. Everything tastes better when it's made with love. The weeks following the famous review were the busiest Le Jardin Bleu had ever seen. Reservations were impossible to get, with people booking tables months in advance. Celebrity guests and food lovers from around the world came to taste Pierre's legendary sauce. Some offered large sums of money for the recipe, but Pierre always declined with a polite smile. One evening, a young American food blogger managed to get a reservation. She recorded every detail of her meal on her phone, taking photos and notes throughout the dinner. When Pierre came out to greet the guests, as he did every evening, she immediately asked about the secret sauce. "Chef Dubois, your sauce is incredible. If you won't share the complete recipe, can you at least tell me what makes it so special? Is it a rare ingredient? A special technique?" Pierre thought for a moment, then said, "Come to the kitchen tomorrow morning. I will show you something." The blogger was surprised but delighted. A private cooking lesson with Chef Pierre Dubois was a rare opportunity. The next morning, she arrived at the restaurant at 9 a.m., after Pierre had returned from the market. He welcomed her into the kitchen, where Sophie was already preparing stocks for the day. "You want to know the secret of good cooking?" Pierre asked the blogger. "Watch." He took her to a small garden behind the restaurant, where herbs and some vegetables grew in neat rows. An elderly man was carefully tending to the plants. "This is Monsieur Laurent," Pierre said. "He has been growing herbs for me for 15 years. He talks to the plants, plays music for them. He knows each one by name." The old gardener smiled and waved, his hands dirty from the soil. Next, Pierre took the blogger to the market, where he introduced her to Madame Moreau and the other vendors. She watched as Pierre selected each ingredient with care, asking questions about where it came from, when it was harvested, how it was grown. Back at the restaurant, Pierre showed her how the kitchen prepared for the day. The careful chopping of vegetables, the slow simmering of stocks, the precise measurement of spices. "Do you see?" Pierre asked. "The secret is not in one ingredient or one technique. It is in everything. It is in the respect we show to each tomato, each herb, each fish. It is in the relationships we build with the people who grow and provide our food. It is in the care we take with every step of preparation." The blogger nodded, beginning to understand. "But what about the sunshine dust everyone talks about?" Pierre laughed. "Ah, that. Yes, it adds something special to the sauce. But without all these other elements, the fresh ingredients, the proper techniques, the love we put into our cooking, it would be nothing. Just a pinch of flavor without a soul." He took a small jar from a shelf and opened it, letting the blogger smell the golden powder inside. "This contains herbs from my village, lemon zest from lemons grown by an old friend, salt from the marshes near my childhood home. When I use it, I am not just adding flavor. I am adding memories, traditions, connections to people and places I love. The blogger took notes, fascinated by Pierre's philosophy. So the real secret ingredient is love, Pierre said simply. Not just romantic love, but love for food, for tradition, for the act of cooking itself. Love for the people who will eat your food. When you cook with this kind of love, people can taste it. They may not know what they're tasting, but they feel it. That evening, the blogger returned to enjoy another meal at Le Jardin Bleu. As she tasted the famous sea bass with its special sauce, she understood what Pierre had been trying to tell her. Yes, the sauce was technically perfect, balanced, complex, exciting to the palate. But there was something more, something that couldn't be captured in a recipe or a photograph. It was the feeling that someone had created this dish with genuine care, with a desire to bring joy to whoever ate it. She wrote in her blog that night, Chef Dubois's secret ingredient isn't something you can buy or measure. It's the culmination of a life dedicated to the art of cooking, to respecting ingredients, and to sharing joy through food. His sunshine dust may add flavor to his famous sauce, but the real magic happens long before that final sprinkle. Pierre read the blog post the next morning and smiled. She had understood. In a world obsessed with shortcuts and instant gratification, Pierre's approach to cooking was almost revolutionary in its simplicity and its demands. Use the best ingredients, prepare them with care, and always, always cook with love. As the months passed, Le Jardin Bleu continued to thrive. Pierre trained his team, especially Sophie, in all aspects of his cooking philosophy. He knew that someday he would retire, and he wanted his restaurant to continue bringing joy to people long after he was gone. One day, a letter arrived from the Ministry of Culture. Pierre had been nominated for the title of Master Chef of France, one of the highest honors a French chef could receive. The ceremony would take place in 3 months at the Grand Palais in Paris. That evening, Pierre shared the news with his team. They were ecstatic, congratulating him and insisting that no one deserved the honor more. Pierre thanked them but reminded them that success was a team effort. This nomination belongs to all of us, he said. A chef is only as good as the people who work with him. As the date of the ceremony approached, Pierre thought often about his journey. From a small village boy who loved his grandmother's cooking to a celebrated chef about to receive a national honor, it had been a remarkable path. Yet through it all, his core philosophy had remained the same. Cook with the best ingredients, with proper technique, and always with love. The day of the ceremony arrived. Pierre closed the restaurant for the evening so his entire team could attend. They all dressed in their finest clothes, excited to see their chef receive such a prestigious award. The Grand Palais was filled with France's culinary elite. Famous chefs, food critics, and government officials gathered to honor the newest masters of French cuisine. Pierre felt slightly out of place among all the pomp and ceremony. He was, at heart, still a simple cook who loved good food. When it was time for Pierre to receive his medal, the Minister of Culture read a speech praising his contributions to French gastronomy, his innovative yet respectful approach to traditional cuisine, and, of course, his legendary sauce. As Pierre accepted the medal, he was asked to say a few words. He looked out at the audience, saw his team sitting together, proud and happy for him. He saw Madame Moreau from the cheese shop, Monsieur Laurent the herb gardener, and many others who had been part of his culinary journey. "I am honored to receive this recognition," Pierre began. "But I must share it with all those who have been part of my story. The farmers who grow my vegetables with such care. The fishermen who bring me the freshest catch each morning. The cheesemakers, the bakers, the wine producers who put their hearts into creating exceptional products. My team at Le Jardin Bleu, who work tirelessly with me every day. And my grandmother, who taught me the most important lesson in cooking, that food made with love tastes better than any other." Pierre paused, then continued with a smile. "Many people ask me for the secret to my famous sauce. They think there must be some exotic ingredient or complicated technique. The truth is much simpler. The secret is to care deeply about what you're creating, to respect your ingredients, and to cook with joy in your heart. Because when you put love into your food, people can taste it." The audience applauded warmly. After the ceremony, many people approached Pierre to congratulate him, including several famous chefs who admitted they had tried to replicate his sauce without success. "Perhaps someday I will share the complete recipe," Pierre told them. "But not today. Today, I encourage you to find your own sunshine dust, that special something that makes your cooking uniquely yours." Later that night, as Pierre walked home through the streets of Paris, medal in his pocket, he felt a deep sense of contentment. Tomorrow, he would wake at 4:30 a.m. as usual. He would go to the market, greet his vendors, select his ingredients with care. He would open his restaurant, guide his team, and create beautiful food for his guests. Because despite the awards and recognition, that was what made him happiest. The simple daily routine of being a chef, of transforming ingredients into dishes that brought joy to others. And as for his sunshine dust, Pierre smiled at the thought that its real magic wasn't in the ingredients at all. It was in the story behind it, the connection to his past, the love that went into creating it. That was something no one could replicate, no matter how hard they tried. Because the true secret ingredient in any great dish is the chef's heart, and no two hearts are exactly the same. As Pierre reached his apartment building, he looked up at the night sky. Few stars were visible above the bright lights of Paris, but Pierre knew they were there. Like the subtle flavors in his sauce, some things didn't need to announce themselves loudly to make their presence felt. Sometimes, the most powerful ingredients were the ones you couldn't quite identify, the ones that worked their magic quietly, bringing everything else into perfect harmony. Tomorrow would be another day of creating, of teaching, of sharing his passion with the world. And Pierre couldn't wait to begin again. Key vocabulary, repeated throughout. A chef, a professional cook, especially in a restaurant. Ingredient, a component of a mixture, especially in cooking. A recipe, a set of instructions for preparing a dish. A sauce, a liquid or semi-solid food served on or used in preparing other foods. A restaurant, a place where people pay to sit and eat meals. A kitchen, a room equipped for preparing and cooking food. A market, a place where goods are bought and sold. A fresh, recently made, produced, or harvested. A flavor, the distinctive taste of a food or drink. A preparation, the activity of getting something ready. Technique, a skillful or efficient way of doing or achieving something. A team, a group of people working together. A dining room, a room where meals are eaten. A critic, a person who expresses opinions about the quality of books, music, food, etc. A reservation, an arrangement to have something kept for someone. A guests, people invited to a place or an event. Passion, strong enthusiasm or desire. A tradition, a belief, custom, or way of doing something that has been passed down. A secret, something kept hidden or unexplained. A love, a deep affection or care for something or someone. Thank you for joining us for The Chef's Secret Ingredient on Story-Driven English. We hope you enjoyed this tale of passion, dedication, and the true magic behind great cooking. If this story helped improve your English skills while entertaining you, please show your support by thumbs up, giving this video a like, speech balloon, sharing your thoughts in the comments below, counterclockwise arrows button, sharing with friends who are learning English, bell, subscribing to Story-Driven English for more engaging stories that make learning enjoyable. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our new uploads. Each week, we bring you carefully crafted stories with rich vocabulary and natural English usage to help you master the language through the power of storytelling. What secret ingredient do you think makes learning a language truly effective? Let us know in the comments below. See you in our next story adventure.